Hi, Nico. Hi, Hunter. We're starting a new book this week, and it is The Little House by Virginia Lee Burton. And this is one of Mrs. Palmer's favorite books. You want to know why? Because I live in a little house. See my little house? This is Mrs. Palmer's little house. Let me turn it around. See how I turn this around? Well, anyways, this is Mrs. Palmer's little house. So I'm going to be reading The Little House in front of Mrs. Palmer's little house. Okay? Hopefully you can see that. We got it. Okay. We're reading pages 1 through 13 this week. Pages 1 through 13. And I'd love for you to start tonight so we could be ready on Monday, okay? The Little House. See how we're going to do this. Once upon a time, there was a little house way out in the country. She was a pretty little house, and she was strong and well built. The man who built her so well said, "This little house shall never be sold for gold or silver, and she will live to see our great-great-grandchildren." Great-great-grandchildren living in her. And next page of The Little House. The little house was very happy as she sat on the hill and watched the countryside around her. She watched the sun rise in the morning, and she watched the sun set in the evening. Day followed day, each one a little different from the one before, but the little house stayed just the same. And next page, give you guys a chance to turn the page. In the nights, she watched the moon grow from a thin new moon to a full moon, then back again to a thin old moon. And when there was no moon, she watched the stars way off in the distance. She could see the lights of the city. The little house was curious about the city and wondered what it would be like to live there. Turning the page. Day passed quickly for the little house as she watched the countryside slowly change with the seasons. In the spring, when the days grew longer and the sun warmer, she waited for the first robin to return from the south. She watched the grass turn green. She watched the buds on the trees swell and the apple trees burst into blossom. She watched the children playing in the brook. In long summer days, she sat in the sun and watched the trees cover themselves with leaves, and the white daisies covered the hill. She watched the gardens grow, and she watched the apple trees turn red and ripen. She watched the children swimming in the pool. In the fall, when the days grew shorter and the nights colder, she watched the first frost turn the leaves to bright yellow and orange and red. She watched the harvest gathered and the apples picked. She watched the children going back to school. In the winter, when the lights were long and the days short, and the countryside covered with snow, she watched the children coasting and skating. Year followed year. The apple trees grew old and new ones were planted. The children grew up and went away to the city. And now at night, the lights of the city seemed brighter and closer. And that is where we are going to end. We're reading pages 1 through 13. See you in class on Monday. Bye.